Congratulations. Your divorce is final and you are ready to get into the world of dating. How exciting. So excited for you. But why do you want to date? Why? What's your driving force? Is it lust? Is it real love? Or is it loneliness? Tune in today to find out why. So your divorce is finally over. After all the pain, the legal fees, the logistics, the kids, maybe having to sell your house, and things are settled. The dust is settling. And now you're ready to start dating. So, and then maybe you meet somebody and you've gotten really excited about that person. So how do you know if it's lust that's driving you, if it's true love, or if it's loneliness? And it's not about avoiding any of those. It's about knowing, really knowing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 3 different reasons or motivators that might get you to pursue a particular person or a particular relationship, or stay too long in something that may not be the healthiest for you. So let's dive in. It's critically important to know how you feel. And so slowing things down and reflecting and asking yourself, where am I at? Where am I at with this? Like, what is driving me to keep texting this person or waiting by my phone, or how come they didn't text me back and it's been 2.3 minutes? Awareness will help you with everything here. There is a huge difference between lust, love, and loneliness. So let's talk about lust first. Those are the 3 things we're going to talk about. And lust can also be known as what's called the chemistry confuser. The chemistry, the hormones, everything's going and moving, and it's so hard to know. Like, I've never felt like this. Do you know that many years ago, there was a study done, I think it was published in Time magazine, that did PET scans of the brain, and it showed the brain of somebody who is high on drugs and somebody who is in love. And the same areas of the brain were lit up. Interestingly enough, I'd have to dig through my stuff and find it, but it's out there somewhere. So anyway, the chemistry confuser, it feels like intense attraction. You're getting these dopamine hits. Oh my gosh, he called or she called, or, they texted me, they like me. It feels so good. And so you might say, Stacey, what's wrong with that? Don't I deserve to feel good? Don't you know what I went through in this nasty divorce? Of course you deserve to feel good, but you want it to feel real, not just good, but good and real. So there's an intensity in this attraction to this person. There's the dopamine surge. You're getting all these dopamine hits. And then maybe a couple of friends say, hey, do you think you might be a little obsessed with this person? You haven't stopped talking about them. It's all you talk about. You only call me when there's a problem with your relationship with so-and-so. And I've been there. So I know this feeling that it's just so exciting when, you come out of a marriage and you don't feel like you were getting what you needed in your marriage, or certainly at the end of it, which then leads to divorce for many people. And finally it's like, oh my gosh, I was meant to meet this person. It just feels amazing when I'm with them. Be careful, because this is a very common trap. And we can often mistake great sex for love. We can mistake emotional intensity for love, or like seeing like, oh, well, they have 2 children the same ages as mine, and they work in the same field as me, and therefore we must be a good fit. Maybe, or maybe the sex and the dopamine and the hormones are just going wild, and that's okay too. I just want you to know what you're doing, eyes wide open. So how do you know if it's lust? You do what's called the slow burn test. The slow burn test is asking yourself, really honest, like get super honest with yourself. Can I enjoy my time with this person when I'm not aroused, when I'm not turned on, when we're not having any kind of romantic or sexual or sensual experience? Do I enjoy just hanging out and watching TV or having a burger with this person? So really just staying focused on the big picture, not just, but every time I see this person, I have to go to bed with them. That's not love. It might be great sex. And again, that's important too, but it's not love. So again, the slow burn test is, can you enjoy being with this person without being turned on? And if you can say yes, then okay, maybe it's not lust. Maybe there's some love that's developing. Which brings us to the second thing. So that was lust. Now we're talking about love, which can also be known as the secure slow builder. Slow and steady wins the race. I tell people that all the time. Something that's too soon, too fast, often can crash and burn. So you've probably heard the expression love bombing. If it's too good to be true, it might be. He sends you flowers every day. Maybe that's a little much. He calls you 10 times a day. Maybe that's a little much. Maybe it's not. But look for the things that feel like they might be too much for you. And if you have some suspicions about those things, pay attention to them. Be careful not to dismiss those. I think too often times, especially us women, we get so excited about meeting somebody, and that's normal. And then at the same time, we see things that we don't really want to acknowledge. Oh, he works a lot. He works a lot. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. He's driven. He's motivated, we say at the beginning. And then you could be married to him and he's always at work. Oh, I married a workaholic. So be careful with the things that you might minimize to yourself. So what is real love? I mean, that is the question, right? You know, songwriters write many, many songs about, what is real love? And everybody can define it differently. Ask a child what love is. They'll tell you something. Ask 10 different adults. They'll tell you something. There are no perfect answers. Having said that, there are some real things that need to be considered when talking about what is real love. Real love includes emotional safety and security. There's no name calling in real love. There's no disrespect in real love. There's taking ownership for your mistakes in real love. And there's trust. You trust your partner. If you are walking around looking at their cell phone while they're in the shower or sleeping, that would suggest you don't trust this person, and or you're insecure, or both. If this person has given you reason to not trust them, pay attention. I think it was Maya Angelou who said years ago, when people show you who they are, believe them. And the truth is, people show you who they are within the first 5 minutes of meeting them. So pay close attention. So real love, again, includes emotional safety and security, trust, respect, taking ownership. And I would throw in also shared values. It helps to value the same thing. I know in this challenging political climate that we're living in these days, there are some people on one side that will not date somebody on the other side because they say that person doesn't have the same values that I do. So know what your values are, and then you might not necessarily interview somebody that you're meeting or going on a date with at the first date. Hi, nice to meet you. What are your values? But those are important things to figure out relatively soon. I also want to make the distinction between love and what's called, I'm sure you've heard the term, trauma bond. A trauma bond is something that, we all have traumas in our life. We've all experienced little traumas, big traumas. Some people have experienced way worse than us. Some people have experienced way better than us or less than us. But just being human means that we have experienced some kind of trauma or pain in our lives. And when we meet somebody and their trauma matches our trauma, it's like a magnet, and we're just, oh my gosh, this is love. This is love. They think it's love. It's not love. That's a trauma bond. A trauma bond is when there's manipulation involved, when there's a lot of instability or emotional volatility involved. It's not a calm, respectful relationship. So there's often abuse with trauma bonds, whether it's verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. There's codependency with trauma bonds as well. So that's not love. And it's important if you recognize any of these things in your relationship or in your dating experiences to run like the wind. Okay. Yeah. Run like the wind. There's also fear. Fear is in a trauma bond, and in a healthy, loving relationship, there's no room for fear. There's no room for fear of the person. You can be afraid of getting hurt. You can be afraid of being too vulnerable. That's all healthy and normal. And so long as you address it with the person that you're in the relationship with, talk through it, work through it, that's healthy. And that can be actually quite corrective. So big difference between love and trauma bond. It's also normal to know that being vulnerable, especially after a divorce, takes incredible courage. If you're not familiar with Brené Brown, do yourself a huge favor and read any of her books. Listen to her podcast. I believe it's called Unlocking Us. And she is an expert on vulnerability, guilt, and shame. And my takeaway from what her work is that unless we allow ourselves to truly be vulnerable, we can't connect with somebody else. So, but we can't be vulnerable unless we feel safe. So these are some of the really important pieces of the, healthy relationship puzzle, so to speak. Real love can be scary, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. So again, what I'm saying is that it's okay. We're human beings. We're allowed to be scared. We're allowed to have fears. I'm just saying address them, talk with them, whether it's with a therapist, a close girlfriend, or ideally the person that you're in the relationship with, and say, I'm scared. I've been hurt before. I don't want to get hurt again. And hopefully that person can step up and hear you, validate you, and support you. Here's a little quiz to know if it's real love. And the quiz or the question is, let me ask you, say it this way. How do you know if it's healthy love? Healthy love is different than toxic love for sure, or a trauma bond. How do you know if it's healthy love? We do what's called the boring but beautiful checklist. The boring but beautiful checklist is this person impeccable with their word? Is this person somebody you can rely on? You call them in the middle of the night if you had a bad dream or there's an incident or an emergency, and they are there for you to the best of their ability. Not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But to the best of their ability, that they are there for you. And they see you. They hear you. That's really important. Many years ago when I was in graduate school, I remember a professor walking into graduate school in my class, and the professor had on the board the word intimacy. And I thought, I guess we're talking about sex today. And I was wrong. He had it broken into, hyphenated, the word in dash to dash me dash C. Into me C. And that has stayed with me for over 30 years. In other words, real intimacy, emotional intimacy, is letting somebody see in your soul and being able to see into your partner's soul too. So this is not going to happen on date number one over drinks at the local bar. It's probably not. You're not going to let them necessarily see in your soul. But on the other hand, why not? Maybe you're not having drinks at a bar. Maybe your first date is in a yoga class. Maybe your first date, you meet somebody on a retreat, a spiritual retreat. I mean, there's so many places to meet people, and there are so many places and things to do on a first date other than the stereotypical, let's go to dinner or drink or coffee. So into me see, that's a really important piece of this. So we've got lust. We've talked about love. Now we're going to talk about loneliness. Loneliness is becoming more and more of an epidemic in our world. It really is, with all the ways that, people can work remotely now, and people do, with all the ways that we can connect online. We don't really need to leave our houses for much. We can do an Instacart to get food, so we don't have to go to the grocery store. We can work from home. We can communicate on social media with people. Why do I need to leave my house? And yet one of the things that's critically important to be a thriving, developed, evolved human being in this world is having human to human connection. Social connection is so critically important. That doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship. That doesn't mean you have to have a date, every weekend. What it means is being out in the world and connecting with other human beings. That's oftentimes, I think one of the coolest things about it is that it's oftentimes how we learn about ourselves by how we show up with other people, how we interact, how we respond. So dating and being in a relationship is a great way to learn about who you are too. So the loneliness piece, also known as the hidden driver. Well, I'm not lonely. I just, I didn't have anything to do on Saturday night, so I put myself online. That's okay. It's okay to be lonely. Loneliness is not, the scarlet letter. It's part of the human experience. It is a normal human emotion that every human being has felt or will feel or does feel at various times in their lives. So there's no shame in being lonely. I think the question is more about what do you do with it? And is it a reason to date? I don't know. You might say yes, but I'm not so sure. What we know is that if think about this. So you're starving. You haven't eaten anything all day. It's been a really crazy, hectic day. Your kids, whatever, work, your ex is giving you a hard time, whatever it is. It's been a crazy, hectic day. You haven't really had a chance to eat. And you haven't even had a chance to go to the grocery store. So you open up your refrigerator and not much going on in there. And then you open the freezer. It's like, oh, there's a little bit of ice cream left. And then in the pantry, there's some pretzels, and I could make a meal out of pretzels and ice cream. Not so terrible. We will eat anything when we're starving. And if we are emotionally starved, we might settle for a person that is not really in sync with who we are. Their values and ours are not aligned. And I want you to learn how to basically feed yourself emotionally before you commit to any relationship. What does that even mean? It means spend time with friends and family. It means exercise on a regular basis. It means pray or meditate. It means listen to music or create music or art or find a hobby. Find something that lights you up inside that does not require a romantic partner. Doesn't require a man or a woman as your romantic partner. It's my life is full and wonderful and whole. And then bringing a partner in would only enhance my life, but it's not, I don't need it. Otherwise I'm going to die. It's not this like desperate thing. I have to have a relationship. And trust me, I was there. I've been in all of these stages in terms of, figuring out who I am as a woman post-divorce. So, when we act from a place of loneliness, real emotional hunger, we can either settle, like I said, we can get overly attached to somebody because we're too afraid to be alone, and or we can overgive. Well, sure, I'll pay for dinner every time we go out. No problem. No problem. Yeah, you can move into my house. No problem. You don't have to give me anything. Again, ladies, you are not desperate. Remember who you are. Remember your strengths. And if you don't know what they are, have a friend remind you because you have so many, I'm sure. It's not easy to be a woman in our society, even still in 2025. Sorry to say. So the big ask here when it comes to loneliness is, would I still want this person in my life if my life were whole and full? If I had a wonderful life, would I still want to be spending time with this human being? And if the answer is yes, then maybe you're not acting from a place of loneliness. But if the answer is, well, I really do like to take my oil painting classes on Friday nights. And then actually Saturday mornings, I go to yoga. And my girlfriends and I, we always go for a walk on the boardwalk in the afternoon. So there's no room in my life for this person if this person is not going to bring something. Bring your best game, dude, right? Because if your life is whole and full and you are fulfilled in your own life, having nothing to do with a man or a woman, if you're lesbian, Is this person somebody you'd want to spend time with if you had a full life? If the answer is no, you know what to do. So every episode, I'm offering a journal prompt, and I hope that you will sit with pen and paper and just do some reflecting and ask yourself. Today's journal prompt is, what am I truly craving right now? Is it connection? Is it comfort or chemistry? Or maybe all of the above. So again, the question is, what am I truly craving right now? Connection, comfort, or chemistry? And when you have that clarity around what it is that you're craving, it's easier to know which path to go down. I mean, again, if you're in a lustful relationship right now and you're having a great time, be safe. Safe sex is a good thing. Very important thing. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying don't sell your soul for anybody else. That your self-worth cannot come from another human being. So know where you are. Do some writing about this if you're willing, and feel free to email me with questions or comments or anything that came up for you in your writing. I'd love to address it if that's what you'd like. I want you to also think, guys, about lust is a spark. Love is considered a steady flame. And loneliness, that's like the wind. And we have to be able to withstand the wind. It will blow right through us. If we can just hang in there with the loneliness and reach out to a girlfriend or a therapist, or go work out or take a yoga class or a journal, whatever. Take yourself on vacation, travel the world. There's a million things you could do. There's a million things you could do that do not require being in a romantic partnership. So lust is a spark. Love is a steady flame. Loneliness, that is the wind. And I want you to learn to stand steady when the wind blows, even if you feel like it's going to knock you over. And by the way, sometimes it does. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and stay open. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Thanks for hanging out with me on Divorced Women Dating. Dating after divorce is definitely an adventure. And honestly, it is way more fun when we do it together. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single moment of the helpful, hopeful, or just really relatable episodes. See you soon.